It's the stage where tradition, excellence, and style come together in perfect harmony. Everyone certainly brings their best. Have you ever wondered what conversations take place under these umbrellas, the stories they could tell? The shared smiles, the spirited conversations, the laughter in the air that carries between the roars of the crowds. Under the umbrellas, the world simply slows down. We remember why this place, this tournament, is about so much more.
Hi, I'm Kira K. Dixon, and today Laura Rutledge is under the umbrellas. Welcome, Laura.
I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy you're here too.
This is great.
It's so good to see you.
It is so great to see you. I'm so amazed and happy for all of the great things that you're doing, and this series is exceptional.
Oh, why, thank you. Well, the team has been working really hard, and
They're
we're
great.
just honored that you would take the time.
It's awesome. This is going to be fun.
Well, being at Augusta National is really fun.
It is. I don't even have the right words to describe it. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful every time you walk in here, every time you see it, but I think more and more I'm realizing like the beauty is one thing, but the hospitality, the way that everyone speaks to each other, the reverence that everyone has for the history of this place, but also for the new things that are happening and changing, and obviously the magnificence of the golf that we're gonna see played here. It's like all the perfect things coming together at once. And I think every year a lot of people in their lives, they sort of have the Masters as a mile marker. So what was I doing last year this time, or what was I doing 10 years ago, and how your family grows and changes and things change in your life, and this is sort of that benchmark to measure it by.
Yeah. You remember, I was standing here when Tiger Woods won, or when
right.
Scotty won, or when Jennifer Kupcho won, and there were just the moments that stop you in your tracks.
So true. It's been really fun just even preparing for this year and looking back at some old video of previous Masters winners and the moments, and there's so many, I mean, so many of Tiger's like pop in your head, but there's so many more that come to mind, like Jack Nicklaus in 1986. I mean, we were not born.
We were not, but we love the content from it.
We do, and just to think of the moments and how difficult it is to win the Masters and to know what's been accomplished, I think is so special. It really does feel like hallowed ground, but yet hallowed ground that welcomes you in with warm fuzzies.
So you're a Georgia girl.
Yes.
What did you think about the Masters or Augusta growing up in Georgia?
It was always the most special thing. I mean, every single spring it was like, all right, we're getting ready for the Masters. My family never came. We never got to come here. We would watch it on TV, and it was sort of the, put everything aside and we're going to focus on this, especially on Masters Sunday. But even in the lead up to that, and I have so many memories, like even just faint ones as a little kid running around the house, and then my dad would be like, hey, you have to stop and watch this. And I think it's always been something that's special to my family. So being able to come here last year for the first time was something that I never would have imagined, to think that not only could I just visit, but then to be a small part of the coverage is so special.
What did your family say when you got the assignment to come and work at the Masters for ESPN?
Oh, man, it gives me chills. My parents have been so supportive of every step of the way in my career, and I think a lot of times they're like not even sure what to say, but this was one that was very tangible for them. So I think it really meant a lot to my dad. He was so proud. He told everybody, like, Laura's going to the Masters. I'm like, Dad, don't. I'm very thankful.
You're like, I'm not playing.
I'm like, I'm not playing, and I'm just a very small part. But
no, not a small part at all.
I know, I shouldn't keep doing that. I'm thankful for the part that I have, right?
Yes.
So he was so proud, and one of the coolest things was bringing him back a shirt, and because he had never been able to come, and so to be able to bring that back to him. My mom, I brought her a tea mug because she loves tea, and she uses it all the time, and she loves to tell people that it came from me getting it here. And I think it's just something that they would have never imagined, and now as a parent I understand that a little bit more, that you just want the best for your kids, and you want them to realize their dreams, whatever those are. And so for me to, by the grace of God, be doing things that I didn't even dream up, I couldn't have even fathomed, I think is really special for them.
How did this even come about? How was it pitched to you to come and work at the Masters tournament?
Well, it's really funny because I am somebody that believes in putting things out into the universe and hoping that something comes back to you. And I've seen that happen a few times in my life, but I feel like more often than not, there are dreams, there are goals that maybe just aren't in the cards for you, right? And you just move on, and that's fine. So I had done an interview, and the person who was interviewing me asked, what was still on my bucket list. And I can't even believe some of the things that I've been able to do, whether it's being on Monday Night Football or being a part of the college football playoff, being on national championship broadcasts, all of these things. And so sometimes, as crazy as it sounds, like a bucket list is hard to even figure out because I feel like I've already been so fortunate enough to check off some of those things. But the Masters was on my bucket list. And so I said that, and I thought, no one's going to ever hear this or see it, or I don't know. And funny enough, our boss, Mike McQuaid, who's a wonderful person, heard that interview, and he was looking for somebody, a different way to change things around, to put people in better roles and to bring somebody in for Welcome to the Masters. And the Welcome to the Masters is such a unique show because, yes, it is all about golf and we cover that, but there's so much of it that's about people who are interested in golf and storytelling and really revealing things that people may not know about Augusta National Golf Club. Like, there's so many different things that we do. So he came to me and said, "What do you think about this?" And I'm like, "Is this real? Am I being punked? This can't possibly be real."
I think a lot I'm actually.
Oh my goodness. I'm like, I've only been thinking about this forever, you know? So I tried to be cool, but I'm not very cool.
Cool,
So
stay cool, stay cool.
I was probably crazy, but, and then, it was formulating what the show would be with me as the host, which is different than, what it would have been with somebody else. And they've been so great about that. And I think one of the things that's been really cool is just the emphasis on bringing women into our coverage and finding ways to incorporate them into the show, which we're going to continue to do more of. But I'm excited to do more of that this year, especially.
What was the preparation process like for you heading into your first Masters tournament versus how you've now prepared this time around?
It's a great question because I am somebody who constantly feels like I'm not doing enough, and it doesn't matter how much I'm doing, that's still the case.
Oh, are you a type A news girly?
I mean, hello. We can relate. So I was maniacal about it, especially last year, and I'm somebody who loved watching people play golf. So it wasn't something that was totally foreign to me, but I'm thinking, I have to know this, I have to know this, and I'm watching every single thing I can find on the Golf Channel, and I watched a lot of you, which is great.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Amazing. And, so it was all of that, and then also familiarizing myself with the details of this particular course, which is so special, and it's the most beautiful course in the entire world.
Different.
It's very different.
In so many different ways.
And like, the vocabulary and the different things that you would say here out of respect to Augusta National. And so all of those things. And I think at times when you do all of that, you need to do it, but you also need to not lose sight of who you are and why you were brought here. And that's even a lesson I'm still trying to tell myself all the time to this day. So it was a mix of that. And then this year it's been even further more of that, right? And just watching everything and consuming it. I love listening to golf on the radio, which is, I think, I love the storytelling via audio. And I don't know if anybody else would think this, but I find that the announcers are more excited because you can't see what's happening, so they're telling the story exactly. So, you're visualizing the specific shot, or you're visualizing the hole and the putt, and you're thinking, oh, by the tone of his voice, it sounds like it's going to go in. It sounds like it's going to go in, and then it doesn't, and then you're like, oh, so I find myself reacting with them. I'm like driving, and I'm like, oh,
this is such a good visual of Laura Rutledge leaving football or something like that, listening to golf on the radio. That's amazing.
Well, most of the time, like, my daughter Reese will be in the car, and she's like, Mom, did he make it? Did he miss it? I can't tell. I'm like, he didn't make it, but it sounded like he was going to.
It was really exciting either way.
We were really pumped. Just a lot of that. And then our research team has been amazing too, and I'm so thankful to them. We do a weekly call. We did this last year too, where I get so excited to get on the call and just talk to them about it. And I'll be like, did you guys see how well Rory's playing? And, oh, Scotty looked better last week. I think he's putting it all together at the right time. And Xander and Colin. And it's just been fun to sort of bounce things off of them too.
for your show, Welcome to the Masters, who have been some of the really fun guests that you've had on?
Oh man, so many great ones. Last year, this was funny. We didn't have George Kittle planned, but you know how it goes here. People show up and then you're just like, hey, you want to come on over and
welcome to the Masters.
Why not? And he was great, and they found him and brought him in, and I'll never forget. I was interviewing Nick Saban, and I look up and I'm like, oh, it's George Kittle, and I'm thinking, well, I knew he wasn't part of the plan, but he must be now, and let's get him in, you know. And that
with
was
Coach,
great.
while Coach was still there.
He left,
Okay.
but then we brought in George, and he was fantastic. And it's cool for me to see these guys that I cover every day in the NFL in this setting, because they are more relaxed and they're more willing to talk about things, but they're also just in awe of this place. And a lot of them love playing golf, but they're fans of golf, so they'll see, you know, guys that they'll follow around, and they love talking about that. Or it was special last year, Will Levis was here with his dad, which had been a bucket list for them as father and son, and just the way that they looked at each other even, you know, as they were going through the day, and we got to interview them as well. So, I mean, Coach Saban's always a favorite of mine. So those were some good ones last year. I'm excited this year that we have some really good guests coming up. Yeah.
Anyone you can tease?
I think I'm gonna say, because at this point, like, we're just gonna, so we have Caroline Wozniacki coming on, which I'm dying over.
Amazing.
And again, we love getting more women on the show.
Yes,
So
I love that.
she is amazing. She just announced that she's pregnant with her third child, and she'll be here, and that's a big one that I'm pumped for. And we have a few other great ones too. Some football people, but we have another tennis star that I won't reveal yet, but like is a huge name. So you have to tune in and see.
You have to watch Welcome to the Masters.
This is a big teaser.
But one of the funny things, not funny things, I guess, but one of the special things about golf is, you know, I can't go onto a football field and test myself on the same sort of field of play against Travis Kelce.
Right.
But when it comes to golf, you know, I could play a similar golf course to Rory McIlroy and see how I stack up and pretend I'm doing those same shots. I think that's why these athletes, they get so excited to then come to the golf course and they become these golf nerds.
That's really well said. Don't sell yourself short, because you're a great athlete. You could probably get out there and catch a pass or two on the field.
Yeah,
I could see you.
I think the running
bebopping
might
around.
be an issue.
Same.
So,
and also I can't catch, but anyway, you know, casual. But yes, it is, and I think it's interesting because so many of them are not very good. Some of them are better than others, right? But there's this thing about playing golf that everyone loves. It's like it can be so humbling, and then the next time you go out, somehow you have a great score and you play better, and all of a sudden it starts working again. Or I mean, even hole to hole, like you can embarrass yourself, and the next time you're like, wow, you know, I'm making a birdie on that hole. Like I didn't see that coming. So I think it's definitely that. And then there's something too about these athletes that are competing at such a high level. Golf certainly has its super high pressure moments, and so many of them have happened here, but it's a different type of pressure. It's a different type of feel than like this collision all the time, or like these big plays and the crowd is roaring and it's noisy and crazy. I think there's an escape that a lot of these athletes feel when they play golf, and that they really cherish.
how's your golf game?
It's terrible. I need help. I have
We should
decided,
play.
Can you teach me some things?
I would
Because
love to.
that's happening. We're gonna do that.
Okay.
I'm gonna recruit you and like
I'm done. I'm up for
feed
it.
you food and whatever
Great,
else, and
great.
make you come teach me, because I want to be. I know I'm not going to ever be great, but I want to just be more serviceable than I am, and I
is a great
love it
goal.
so much that I want to be better. So I'm going to take some lessons from you and maybe whoever else wants to teach me, but that is one of my upcoming goals in life.
I don't know how great I would be as a teacher, but I'm great at fun.
Yes. Okay. So that's fine. This reminds me. This is so random, but it reminds me of when I was trying to take driving lessons, and I had the funniest driving lesson guy. My teacher was this hilarious guy. I don't even remember his name, and he would be like, "Who are you talking about?" But I spent the whole time laughing, and then I failed the driving test the first time. And then I was like, "Oh no, what do I do?" Because now I don't have a license. I can't drive out of here like I had planned on it, you know?
But you had fun.
I did. I laughed really hard, and he didn't teach me very well, but that's okay.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. You know what? I will endeavor to do better than that guy.
You will.
And still bring the fun.
There's no way.
So we bring the fun, and you also bring the fashion to Welcome to the Masters. How do you plan all of your looks?
Okay, I will say, I get the most excited about planning these looks, and this is only 2 years in the making, but these have been the most fun looks to plan, because I do think that one of the things I love about just Masters fashion in general is it's very classy, but it's also very springy. And then you're also trying to find a way to still be like modern and current and all of those things. So this year I went with more suits because it's going to be a little chillier.
Yes.
Although it's kind of, I don't know, it's warming up now. So I may, like, my sweater's a little warm right now. So
but you look great.
Thank you. So do you. I may have regrets about my choices, but it's too late now. And I went with monochrome looks. So I have one that's light blue and then one that's like a kind of light sea green almost. And then the Wednesday, we have the par 3, and we're doing a shorter welcome to the Masters into the par 3. So that's just more like pants, because I'm going to be running around after the show and doing interviews and things like that. So.
But with the Masters specifically, you can really, you can be extra, which as you know, we love to be. And you can wear a shiny blue suit with a cool set of sneakers and a wide brim hat, and that is absolute perfection.
So the thing about NFL fashion or anything on the sidelines, I'm always thinking, I don't want to be, I want to be functional, I want to be professional, I don't want to be a distraction at all. Like, things that are shiny or sparkly or colorful could sometimes stick out in a weird way, whereas here, it just goes with everything. The azaleas, the beautiful grounds, it's just gorgeous. So I have a lot more fun here with my choices than I do with football.
Since working last year, how many times have coaches and players wanted to then talk golf with you after seeing you on the golf coverage?
That's a huge thing that we talk about. And it's funny because, oftentimes we're trying to set up interviews, we're trying to do things throughout the football season, and I get it, guys are protective, they're focused on the game. But now I'll have them reaching out to me saying, hey, I'm going to be there, or one of their sports information directors reach out and say, we've got this guy who's going to be there. He wants to come on Welcome to the Masters. I'm like, wow, how the tables have turned, and we are so glad to have you, But they love talking about it, and it's interesting. So many football players, at some point during our interviews, like even just the production meetings leading into the games, golf will come up, whether it's talking about something Masters related because they'll know something that I did, or they'll just want to talk about their own games, and they can't play much during the football season, so they'll be itching to get out there. And it's really cool to see just how prevalent the game of golf is in other sports. It's true for baseball too. So many of those guys love playing golf, especially the pitchers, because they're like, we get a few days off here and there. The position players are always, give them trouble for that. Be like, yeah, of course you guys can go play golf. The rest of us are out here playing 162 games. But,
well,
you know what?
That's how the cookie crumbles.
Whenever the pitchers go out, they have a little bit more work most of the time than anybody else. But yeah, it's really neat to see how much other athletes enjoy playing golf.
So one of my favorite things that you post on Instagram is Reese's football picks. And for those that don't know, it's your daughter Reese that goes through head-to-head matchups during college football season. So can I make a special request?
Ooh.
Can Reese do a Reese's golf picks one of these days?
Love this
for the
idea.
majors?
Yes.
For the Masters?
We should do it for the Masters. I will tell you, she loves Scotty Scheffler. He is her favorite golfer.
Why?
So I think it's because there was a time, like maybe last year, she watched a lot of last year, and I was home by Sunday last year, which I will be this year too. So we watched Sunday together, so we got to see Scotty win. So she became like really familiar with him. But then all of a sudden this year, we were just talking through, who was on the screen, because there was one of the tournaments was on, and she said, well, I love Scotty Scheffler. She said it just clear as day.
How old is she?
She's 5. And I was like, okay, girl, like, yeah, good choice. We were talking through, we're like, he's a great family man. He's got a little baby, and, he loves Jesus. And we were telling her all the things. Cute. And she's like, oh yeah, no, I love him. She's like, go Scotty. So she thinks, though, because she's very much a football girly, she thinks that she needs to just cheer really loud, and that's the key. So, I'm like, I don't know we've taken her to Travelers and some things, in Connecticut, but I don't know how she would do here, because she'd probably be screaming really loud, like, go Scotty!
At the par 3, that would be great. You just bring her out to the par 3.
She'd be perfect for that. But no, this summer she's actually going to start taking golf lessons too, so I'm really excited for that. But I like your idea. I think what we should do is see if we could get her to like somebody else too, so that then it would be like I'm gonna picture a Rory, maybe a Xander, and you know,
she's gonna be a Scotty lifer.
I think she is. It's a good choice though.
Wait, one last thing, and then I know you've got all the things to do for Welcome to the Masters, but you have set an incredible example for what it's like to travel, be away from your kids, have this incredible career. You post a lot about your tips for working moms, as you know, as someone that wants to follow in your footsteps. What are the things that you've learned that continue to serve you every single day?
Oh my goodness. I think the biggest thing that's become more and more prevalent is just giving yourself some grace. And that's something that I'm not great at because I'm very hard on myself. But more times than not, I have seen my children, my husband, my work life, all of it goes better if I'm happier. And if I can find a way to achieve that, which is easier said than done, right? It's a stressful job. We're lucky to do it, but there's certainly pressure on it, and you're constantly feeling guilty. The mom guilt is something that never goes away. It doesn't matter how many times you convince yourself, no, everything's great. It'll still tug at your heart so much. But I think finding a way to say, no, I'm proud of what I'm doing. And I'm proud that my children will be able to say, my mom did that. And as much as there are times when I beat myself up for missing things, and I feel like, I texted my husband this morning, I'm like, I'm so worried they're gonna forget me. And he's the best. He's like, they're not gonna forget you. They're talking about you all day. I know. But I do it because I get insecure and I start thinking, oh no, I'm gone for a week and they're gonna forget me, you know, and they don't. And that's just the truth of it, right? And there's something really special, I think, about saying that no matter what it is that they want to do in life, they can look and say, look what my mom did. That shows me that I can do anything, whether it's your daughter or your son. They understand supporting that and going for that. And, you know, I've had to, at times, work has had to take a back seat, and I've had to just trust myself and say, even though it was more important for me to be hanging out with my kids and intentional with them and sitting on the floor with them for 30 minutes than it was to do that extra step of prep that would have made me feel more comfortable in my job, I'm gonna have to trust that I can just do it. And that part, I think, has created a bit of a turning point for me to where I could feel just a little bit better about how things are going. But it's a constant struggle, and it's a struggle that I'm thankful for. I wish that somebody would have told me it was possible to do this job and have children, because I didn't believe it was possible. So I'm here to tell you, I'm here to tell anybody else that you can 100% do it, and it will be the most rewarding and also difficult chapter of your life.
Yeah. Well, Laura, you are an incredible inspirational role model, and I know that they are very proud of you for everything that you're doing and that you're doing this week here at Augusta National, and we're just so grateful that you joined us under the umbrellas.
This is the best. You're the best.
You're the best.
Thank you.